Hi guys, this is me back again. I haven't made a video in a long time because I am lazy and I work, so speed paints have become my life lately. I finally decided to sit down and write a video topic on why I think Boueibu has affected the magical boy genre and industry. Yay! So most of you haven't probably heard of the magical boy anime Binan Koko Chikuru Boueibu Love. This anime hold near and dear to my heart. I started watching it when season 1 and episode 2 aired. I kept forgetting to watch it, and didn't finish it till episode 12 aired. Yeah, I remember being really stoked about the season 1 finale and was just so ready for it to be over. I was watching it like, oh, it's gonna be so cool. And I remember by the end of it being really shook by the plot twist, which I won't spoil here, but I'll probably spoil later. So whenever that happens, I will definitely put a little timestamp up above, and you can go, skip right of it. This was one of the very first times I've ever seen a sole magical boy anime without any females in it, so it was pretty cool. Now, I know there are other shows that just talk about magical boys, but at the time, it felt like a kind of crazy thing to do, especially without any girls in, the immediate cast. So why don't we kind of try to dive into this? Now, a lot of Takamatsu's, the director of Boueibu, his old tweets have been taken down, as he did a Twitter purge not so long ago, which I did save some of the photos from, and I will be showing some of them. So, how about we talk about, the before times, 2014-ish, and before, pre-2014. Now, shows like Shugakara and Sailor Moon do exist, but they don't just only have magical boys in their teams. Like, yeah, Shugakara has Tadase and, I can't remember the name. Cut this out, Adri. In theory, you could classify the Ronin Warriors or the Yodan Samurai Troopers as magical boys, or even the main characters in Gundam Wing / Gundam Suit Troopers. But even with that logic, could an Astro Boy be a magical boy too? What about the males in Utena? Then again, we usually classify magical girls and boys as their namesake if they have transformation, magical powers, and fight monsters of the day. Now the real question is, what exactly was the first magical boy show? Really, it's something I really had to research actually. So, might as well just kind of dive in for the history of the past, right? Now, finding the very first magical boy is actually kind of hard to actually trace back, because there's a lot of different answers. But one of the very first magical girl anime came out in 1966, which was called Sally the Witch. But if you do search the first magical boy anime on Google, you actually get Devilman, which came out in the 70s. Now, there were other shows such as Saint Seiya as well, which most do classify as being the magical boy genre. But what really catches my eye is the mid-2000s insurgence of magical boy anime, such as Korewa Zonbi Desuka, which I never watched, but a friend of mine used to talk about it a lot. I even read about this anime from 2012 called Samurai Flamenco, which was a parody of Super Sentai and superheroes. But what makes Boueibu so special then? I mean, sure, there were magical boy anime before, such as the titles listed, but what exactly made Boueibu a thing? How about we take a look at the creator, Shinji Takamatsu's career. Shinji Takamatsu was born in 1961. He's a Japanese storyboard artist, screenwriter, and director. You probably know him mostly from Gintama, and his earliest listed role was an episode director in 1983's Mobile Suit Zettai Gundam, and his latest work, although it wasn't the best, was Robahachi, which was also set in the Magical Boy universe, and it has a...
is power!
Yeah. His Magical Boy roots go back to Ronin Warriors being an opening and ending coordinator, along with being an episode storyboarder and director. Takamatsu's career is a long and amazing one. He knows how the scene works, and is a seasoned director. I haven't watched a lot of his anime, but the ones he's worked on, I do know by name. Takamatsu seems like your average director / creator, and I do respect his works a lot, even if some of his recent works aren't that great. They're not bad, but the story plots sometimes vary, and it's a lot of just like, well, this was kind of stupid, why would you write it like that? That made no sense, why leave it as a plot hole as it was? And they kind of just get a little cluttered at times, but it's easy as a viewer to be like, well, that was stupid. But I can digress. We had to get back to the topic of Boueibu. Like, why did it even get the hype that it got, and how did it even start? Boueibu's creation actually began in 2013, during the Magical Boy hype, after Pony Canyon asked Takamatsu to make a well-selling anime. Originally, it was going to be more of a Sailor Moon parody, where they end up at a karaoke bar each night instead of the Kuretama bathhouse. His producer actually came up with the idea of making pretty boys transform. Takamatsu said this about why he wanted to make the choices that he did. Whether I should say it or not, despite what my producer is saying here, it was from Sailor Moon. how to best elegantly and beautifully transform these boys, and how to elegantly and beautifully defeat the enemies is what we concentrated on making the show. The Battle Lovers were originally named Battle Lackluster's, and the main story follows a routine format like anime, predominantly targeted at children, and slowly unfolds the story throughout the episodes. Why were the protagonists chosen? What are the Battle Lacklusters? Who are their enemies, their objectives, etc.? Each episode, an important element can be hinted at leading to the next episode. To be fair, some of this did end up happening, although not as dramatic as Sailor Moon. Originally, too, they were going to have a tuxedo mask-like character, and they ended up getting scrapped. Each defense club member was also named after them. Hakone Yumoto was going to be Tsukino Sabaku, Yufui Nen, Mizuno Tadakumi, Zao Ryu Hino Shohei, Narako Iyo, Kino Kunya, and Kinugawa Achi Aino Kubasi, which is quite funny because Atashi is actually the green battle lover. Eventually, the Takamatsu and Taiyo Media, the studio that picked Boueibu up, decided naming the boys after hot springs. When asked about why he chose boys over girls, Takamatsu said, "But doing it seriously and straight face is what makes it funny. And this is where it's similar, but different. Plus, on top of that, the boys would look at themselves and say, 'What is with this outfit? I can't take it off.' The male tendency to heckle and complain about things is the male aspect of what makes it funny. It took us a long time to come up with their outfits, which was cool yet cute. It took a long time for us to get the final design of that. They eventually picked a wombat to be their mascot because wombats aren't particularly cute, and since he's an old man, he'd stand out. Finally, with everything picked out, they can now choose the voices to play the characters that they envisioned. Kazutomi Yamamoto was playing Hakone Yumoto, a first year whose family runs the Kurohama bathhouse and he loves rice balls and animals. Umehara Yurichiro, Yufui Nen, a third year, a very lazy boy who likes to sleep, read manga, eat manju, and hang out with Atashi. Nishiyama Kotoro, Kinugawa Atashi, a third year, he likes puzzles and reading. He and Anne are very close and they almost act like parents to the younger boys. Shirai Yusuke was Narako Iyo, a second year, who loves money and keeps to himself. He's best friends with Ryu, but not much is known about his past. And finally, Matsuda Toroshiki, Zao Ryu, a second year who loves women, but has never been seen with one, and is Io's best friend. They're also hinted about having crushes on one another, but they won't admit it. All of these actors are fairly new at the time and basically undiscovered talent. We cast 5 fairly new actors to play these boys, and for them to learn the songs, put on the outfits, and put on a stage show. With all that on the way, how was the reception to this crazy and wacky show? Boueibu aired on January 6, 2015. It was on streaming sites like Crunchyroll and Funimation. In Japan, it aired at 1 a.m. and was more directed at fujoshis, which are otaku women, and was a hit in Japan. They loved it. I remember when my sister showed me the first gifts that I ever saw of the show, and she exclaimed, "Look, it's male Sailor Moon." And she watched episode 1 without me, laughed and said, "I love Yumoto," and then I watched it and was hooked. My sister never finished it. She said, "It just wasn't my thing." But Boueibu is just about 5 boys who are in the Earth Defense Club, who just used the clubroom as a relaxation area. The founding members, Yufui Nen and Kinugawa Atashi, found the room. Eventually, Narako Iyo and Zao Ryu joined. Then, during Season 1, Hakone Yumoto joins, although he's kind of forced into it since he was chasing after Wombat. And finally, the story. One day, Atashi and En are sitting in the Kurohama bath when a portal opens and Wombat falls through the sky. This causes him to freak out, and Yumoto runs in like, "Oh my god, no! Stop roughhousing! What are you doing?" He sees Wombat and jumps into the tub and tries to calm him down. Third years run out of the bath, then get dressed, and then you see the student council, Kusatsu Kinchiro, Arima Ibushi, and Gero Akoya, who all be important later on. Yumoto and Wombat give chase. Wombat kills their teacher, and then possesses his dead body. Yeah, you heard that right. Then we finally meet Iyo and Ryu, who are chilling in the club room. Iyo has a thing for money, while Ryu has a thing for girls. Yumoto runs in with Wombat, who forces them to become battle lovers. They fight for love and heal their enemies with a love shower using their love sticks. Yeah, that show has this many innuendos and it's great. They actually don't know Sensei is dead, well, their teacher is dead, until episode 2. And that's when you go, "Oh, what?" They call Wombat a murderer and everything, and they're like, "Oh my god, you possess his body." It's so good. The show continues, and we learn more about Yumoto and his big brother Gora, who is the super buff ginger man that Yumoto looks up to a lot. He will also be important later on. We also get to see more of the student council, their own works on trying to dominate the world with the help of their own mascot, a green porcupine hedgehog? We don't know, named Zundar. We then meet the press society with their own mascot as well, a fish named Hirayashi. Boueibu has the biggest plot twist in any show I've ever watched recently, and I'm gonna spoil it now. So, if you want to know, keep watching. If not, just skip to the time listed above, and I'll let you know when it's over. So, you gone? Okay. It turns out Yumoto's brother was a hero named Maximum Gorar. It had a mascot named Hashiburo who was like one of those giant shoe bills. They're all in a reality TV show. Atashi and Kinshiro were best friends and up until middle school. And they had a falling out after Atashi went to get curry with N, and Kinshiro hates curry, so he and N went together instead. Kinshiro gets all upset and Atashi won't talk to him about it. They're like 12 years old here, so they're not going to talk about it. Kinshiro eventually meets Zundar, gets manipulated by him, and then he and the other, which they're called the Kaira Adamas, well, they're also called the Conquest Club, all team up to dominate the world. By the end, Yumoto and the others fight off Zundar and Hideyoshi after they turn Gora into a monster, and then they have a mecha. It's so freaking weird. They unlock their final forms and save the world with the help of their new friends. Okay, so after that mouthful, how did the show do? Well, it has a small fan base, but it's such a lovely one to be in. I've made a lot of friends, and they're probably watching this right now. Hi guys. Sites like Anime News Network gave the show an A+ rating, while Anime UK gave it a 9 out of 10, while another one of their staff members gave it a 7 out of 10. Ratings vary upon person to person and site to site, but the show made enough money to make a season 2, an OVA, and a third season with a different title and new characters, which I'll get into later. So now, let's go on to season 2's story, which... Season 2 is called Love Love. Every season adds an extra love. Season 2 aired in July 2016 and has the student council leaving and the defense club have to make sure things are kept in order. Then a new monster appears and he breaks their old bracelets. They level up and get new transformations. It turns out a new idol duo named The Vepper hate Yumoto because of his brother. Beppu Akihiko and Haruhiko, or Aki and Haru, are the antagonists of Season 2, which people have a love-hate relationship with. I just hate how much Takamatsu wrote their backstories all the way until episode 12. It gets a lot of pandering, a lot of padding. It's a little annoying at times, but whatever. Aki is the more level-headed twin. He would look at you and go, "Man, I hope you trip and fall." While Haru would go, "You should go fall down a well." Because Haru likes to act before he thinks. They have a very unhealthy obsession with Gora, and they're always dragging Yumoto into everything, and then they'll complain about how Yumoto fixed their issue, like, "Oh, I can't believe he did that, what a jerk." But it's like, they did that to themselves. Yumoto didn't do anything. By episode 10, you learn a little more about Yumoto and Gora's relationship, but you learn more about Aki and Haru than them. Yumoto learns that the twins were actually saved by Gora when they were younger, and they get mad whenever N threatens them with a restraining order. Yeah, this show goes that far, because N gets more annoying with their constant stalking of Gora and threatening to kill Yumoto than anything else. So he actually was like, "Fine, we'll go get the police." And Wombat's like, "What? That's terrible." And he's like, "Yeah, watch me." Then the finale happens. The season 2 finale is a lot darker and grittier than season 1's, as Aki and Haru are basically out for blood at this point. Usually if you're watching Haru, he is more than likely always aiming at Yumoto. He is furious that Yumoto is still even breathing. Of course, it doesn't really go that dark, because it's more of a slice of life parody anime. But a lot of us were like, why didn't they go darker? Because we saw Haru's anger. We were like, go, 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 go. And finally, the student council come back at the very end of episode 11. You're like, "Oh my god, they're back." And Ryu has this cool moment where he's like, "I'm not down for the count. You just suck." And then episode 12 airs. It's okay. Yumoto's breakdown scene is the best scene in all of season 2, in my opinion. Minus episode 3, because that was just really good if you're a Yumoto fan like I am. The twins are healed, and it's kind of lame. They just get a love shower, and it's like, whatever. And then finally the season ends and they're all back together. Season 2 was actually really well received. It's not talked about as much as Season 1. Season 2 was kind of like an instant, not Season 2, Season 1 was an instant classic, while Season 2 was kind of like, it's okay. 7.4 out of 10 on my anime list, and I love it. And as mentioned before, Season 2, Episode 3 is my favorite episode. It's really good. The show is just cute. But what about the OVA I mentioned? You know, the love, 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 love. We'll go into that. The OVA aired in August 2017 to September 2017, which it aired in Japanese theaters. It's just about the third years graduating. It's a lot of sadness, and Yumoto's feeling insecure about it. Nothing much happens, but you kind of get to witness Yumoto's internal struggling, but you really see more the third years. But the Kaito Adamas get to fight. It's cool. but they don't get to team up with the battle lovers, and that kind of disappointed me a lot. In the Pepper, they team up. It's really cool. Yamato saves the twins. It's like the best part in the OVA. I'll stop rambling. But it's an okay OVA. It has a 6.8 out of 10 on my anime list and was shown in Japanese theaters. Fans were okay about it, and they weren't really a fan of the ending. But it's a nice thing to watch to finish the saga, if you really want to. And now we get to the third season, which I didn't watch. It's called Happy Kiss, and it's like, it has new boys in it. Which, it's not the issue there, I just wasn't interested in the characters. And my friends told me it kind of felt like season 1, because the main character had a falling out with the student council president. It's 13 years later, and the original battle lovers are seen as a fairy tale or legend. We get a flashback of the boys, but fans liked it, some disliked it. I just wasn't a fan of the change, and like I said before, I just didn't get into the characters as much, so sorry. It aired in 2018, has a 6.5 out of 10 on my anime list. We got through all that now, but what about after Boueibu? Surely, I mean, this is a video about how they affected it. Why haven't you got into it? Well, slow yourself, dear commenter. I just hit the stand, I'm sorry. You dear commenter. We shall get to there. Now, not many shows have actually came up since Boueibu ended, but 2 notable anime that I can think of have been comparable or inspired by Boueibu: Senazanmai and Fairy Ranmu. There was that show, Magical Girl Me, but it's more making fun of magical boys than a loving parody. Senazanmai is an anime made by Kunihiko Ikura from, Sailor Moon and Utena. He's never stated Boueibu was an inspiration, but it is a magical boy show where the boys do transform into kappas, and it aired in 2019, has a huge following. Fast forward to now, April 2021, a new show called Fairy Ranmaru started airing, which the director, Masukazu Hishida, said was actually inspired from Boueibu. He posted this on Twitter. In making Fairy Ranmaru, I took a look at the original works, Earth Defense Club and Robohachi. Both of them were very interesting. I thought they were works that I couldn't make. However, I think I was able to. Maybe in the coming months or years, we might see more shows that were inspired from Boueibu. I mean, before, it kind of felt like magical boy shows were rare. But I digress. I quite like the magical boy genre. I don't know, it's different. But okay, let's sum up my thoughts. Boueibu is one of my favorite shows to this date. I'm an avid collector, and I end up rewatching the show a lot. I cosplay for it, and I have many friends in the fandom. The show itself spawned three mangas, one that was never finished due to Pony Canyon manga shutting down, 3 novels, a stage play, and multiple events, including a CGI event which I've never watched. The show dawned many fans, and so many people are just now discovering it. Boueibu is just a gold mine waiting to be found. And it just shows how amazing a silly show can be. During the final event, the actors were seen tearing up and being so moved by it. One of the actors said, "It was always so nice walking out of the booth and seeing the others waiting their turns. They were just really one big happy family." It just kind of makes me sad knowing that, their family's not really there now. But, they still are doing other shows. But I'd love for another season of Boueibu. Even if it was just a film or a short OVA, I'd accept it with the Happy Kiss boys. I really would. Boueibu really has had an impact on the magical boy genre. Shows like Fairy Ranmaru wouldn't ever exist if Boueibu wasn't around. It's hard to say what would have been, but Boueibu has worked for many. It came out at just the right time and was just a classic right away. Google it. Magical boy anime? Boueibu is always the first result, and that's crazy. Now, I don't need to go into too much stuff about magical boys, but the information is just so few and far between. Most shows just have magical boys with 1 or 2 guys in it. I just mostly wanted to find shows with only boys in it as the heroes. Not He-Man, like anime from Japan. Sorry, guys. But it was easier said than done. Maybe I'll just do another video on just Boueibu's history, because this is more just a brief touch on it. But Boueibu is just such a magical show, and it's just a really fun experience. If you're really wanting to explore the magical boy genre, consider taking a look at it, or any of these other shows I've listed before. I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching this. I know it kind of felt a little rambly. I wrote the script in like 2 days, and I was really proud of it. I really hope you consider subscribing to me if you'd like. I try to make new videos constantly, but work really kicks my butt. I work 40 hours a week, 1 to 10, like every day. I'm tired when I'm on my days off. But thank you again so much for watching this. And if you like this, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Become a part of the magical family today. Bye-bye, guys.